Another good day of work out there today. A couple specialty things to get in tomorrow, goal line coming out, things like that we practiced last week, and we'll hit them again tomorrow. I think the team is excited to play, but we got a little more work to do before we get on the plane tomorrow afternoon. Questions?
I haven't gone through this once before. Can you gauge the team's readiness for the opener?
Yeah, I feel good about it. I think when you watch practice, you're looking to see how sharp they are with their assignments, and I thought we flew around today. I thought we were precise. So all the things that you look for, I feel like we were in very good shape today, and I think emotionally after a long training camp like this, it's just natural to be anxious to get out there and play somebody else with no preseason games.
Have you heard anything about having those fires out there? The air quality is supposed to be poor in the frozen area. Have you heard anything about that? Are you monitoring that? What's going on?
We are monitoring it, and we got the report today, and it's ironic because I've kind of referenced the Montana trip back in 2000 a couple times in a couple different interviews, because it was the last time we played on the West Coast and went out a day early, and it was the same situation. And really, when you walked around outside, you could smell it. Now, I didn't feel like it had an effect on the players during the game. I felt like after being out there for 2 days, that whatever acclimatization needed to take place had taken place, and we were able to play through the game without an issue. But I think it'll be good for us to be out there a day early. I think that's the benefit of having this as the opener.
Do you make players aware of that situation, or you just sort of keep that off their plate unless they really need to know about it?
I think they'll realize it when they get out there, but until they actually get out there, and if I remember correctly from 2000, you smell it in the air. But other than that, it was really that was the only difference.
Kyle, how about Ian Thomas's rise? When you made him a corner in bowl prep, I guess it was, did you imagine he could be a starting quarterback come game one? Did you think it would be more of a long-term project?
Actually, Logan Ryan made him a corner in bowl prep. He was the one who made the first suggestion when he was covering him as a flyer on the punt team. And it was interesting because it wasn't something as a coaching staff that we had thought about as an option. But at the same time, when I mentioned it to Ian, he was very anxious to try it. And after a couple of bowl practices, it was pretty easy to see that he was going to be good. How good, we didn't know at that point, but he certainly has taken advantage of the opportunity, both on the field and the opportunity that the depth chart has presented. So I'm proud of him, and I think he's ready to go out there and do it in game day.
The way Gary finished up last year, how important do you think it is for him to get off to a good start this year?
I think Gary is a very mentally tough football player. I did not, from one game to another last year, see any effects. I think Gary knows this is a new game, and he's got a different group of receivers, and they've got a different defense than anything we faced last year. So I don't know that there'll be an effect before the game or after game, regardless of performance.
Can you explain to us how you see his maturity and change, and I guess growth as a quarterback? What do you see in him?
I think the most obvious outward sign is his ability to coach the other players. And that's something that for a younger quarterback that does not always come naturally. It comes naturally for very few. And now that Gary's in his third year, has had the experience of playing an entire season, he earned the respect of his teammates being voted captain. But I think the other part of that has been he's got the respect of the other players in terms of the other players allowing him to coach them. Because I think the player-to-player coaching, for some players, is hard to take. But when I watch Gary do it, I see the players accepting it. So I know that he is certainly in a place in their minds where he can do it.
What about for him on the field, his growth?
I think it's just a grasp of the offense. And every year you come through it as a quarterback, and you get to reinstall it in the spring, and then they reinstall it on their own in the summertime, and then you reinstall it in training camp. But every time you learn something or are taught something over and over again, you have a chance to learn it on a different level, and I think that's where Gary's at right now.
How about some of Gary's best games being on the road? Arkansas comes to mind. Temple last year, I think he threw 5 TDs there. Is that just part of him being confident, cool Gary Nova, or because obviously road games should be tougher?
I don't know that being on the road really has anything to do with it. I tend to think it's always more about the matchups of the players than the stadium that you're in.
Kyle, are you a fan of scripting your first X number of plays for a game?
I think most plays on offense are scripted before the game, whether it's done formally in a 1 to 10 format, and I've been around coordinators that have done that, or in other ways where on 3rd and 4 to 6 we're going to run these 5 plays in the game so the players know, hey, in this situation we're going to run these plays. So I think there's a lot more of that goes on. Most plays are called during the week, and then there are certain situations in the game where I think that the guys that are the better play callers, they have a feel for the game, and the timing of certain things comes into play as the game goes on.
Time for two more. Does Darius feel more like a starter now? I mean, obviously he is, but I mean, it seems like last year he had a big role, but this year it's mainly just starter and name only. And he's, just acquired that title. Do you expect anything different from him this year?
That's a tough question. I don't look at it like that. Darius Hamilton played a lot of football for us last year and did an excellent job. And as a freshman, we knew he would be better this year. I think he is better this year. I think he's a different player than he was last year. He's bigger, he's stronger. He has more knowledge of the defense and what we're trying to do within it. And because of his experience and because of his ability level, we are going to rely on him. I don't know if that means he feels like a starter. We have a guy like Kenny Kirksey, who we also rely on quite a bit, who's technically not listed as a starter. But in a position like defensive line or receiver, those guys are going to play a significant amount of time. And when you're on the game, and when you're in the game, you are the starter. It doesn't matter if it's the first play, the 10th play, or the 70th play.
Kyle, from a conditioning standpoint, have you seen enough to think that things like cramps and stuff like that won't be a problem with the weather out in Fresno?
Yes.
I guess, what do you see and how have you simulated that? I mean, I know you went in the bubble a couple times, but when it's not as harsh outside, what are you seeing?
I don't think that can start in training camp. I think that starts in your summer program. We spent 9 weeks here in the summer. It was one of the hotter summers we've had. It actually hasn't been one of the hotter training camps, but it really was one of the hotter summers we've had in a long time. So the combination of the summer program, I felt we came out of that in excellent shape, and the times we've been in the bubble, I think we've handled it very well.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.